Well, good afternoon, colleagues. I'll call the meeting to order. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Administration and Finance Committee meeting on May the 7th, 2024. I will now call on Rianne Kassar, Committee Clerk, to conduct the roll call. Rianne.
Regional Chair Karen Redmond.
Present.
Councillor Craig.
Present.
Councillor Deutschman. Councillor Erb.
Present.
Councillor Foxton.
Present.
Chair Harris.
Here.
Councillor Hunick.
Present.
Councillor James. Councillor Liggett. Councillor McCabe. Councillor Nowak. Councillor Salonen.
Present.
Councillor Shantz.
Present.
Councillor Verbanovic.
Present.
Councillor Williams.
Present.
Councillor Wolf.
Present.
Thank you, Rianne. I would like to acknowledge that the land on which we gathered today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Chinantan peoples. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements, and their contributions to our community. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we will now consider a motion to reconvene into open session. Do we have a mover and a seconder to consider this motion? Councillor Craig, seconded by Councillor Foxton. Get that yes or no up on eScribe. Okay, that is carried. There are no presentations, there are no delegations, and there are no matters to consider under the consent agenda. All finance meetings are special, but today is particularly a special one, at least for one of the individuals sitting beside me to the right. And with that, I'd like to call upon Chair Redmond for remarks with regards to that.
Thank you, Chair Harris. And I would have to say that it will be in short order. I think maybe a week and a half, and we will bid Craig Dyer adieu as our CFO. Craig has been with the region for 12 years, but in the municipal sector for 36 in total. And I have no doubt, Craig, that some of those 12 years at the region of Waterloo must have felt like dog years and felt like 7. I would have to tell you, without qualification, equivocation, you're always the smartest guy in the room, and I mean that with great sincerity. Your objective has always been to make sure that the region was in good financial standing and sustainable, and you have made that sort of your golden rule and your lens through what you looked at all of the advice that you've given us over the years, most of which we followed, some of which we didn't. I do have to comment on the National Bank financial update that would come annually before COVID, and I believe it was Warren Lovely who would often extol how smart you were at anticipating the trends in markets and making sure that we had the belt and suspenders and the shock absorbers that we needed as a region to go forward. You have left us in a very valuable position, an enviable position. And I know that you've also created an awful lot of really productive and good advice to Marco and to the province over the years because they've sought your advice. I'm sure that in the future we will have dire financial situations and challenges, but they will come with a small letter D and not a large letter D. So we may want to keep you on speed dial. You have left us with excellent policies and practices, and again, financial sustainability. And for that, everybody in the region and people around this horseshoe and our predecessors, thank you, because we are in your debt. You've had a pivotal role in things, small things like the ION Stage 1, other key priorities, I think, of YKF, and very visionary investments that we have been able to make as successive councils because we had your great advice. We will miss you. I know that we are left in very good hands by Cheryl Braun, and I know that you've always complimented your staff on being there, and I've never seen people go to their computers and come up with stats more quickly than Cheryl and her colleagues, so we know that you're leaving us in good hands. We will miss you. We wish you the very best in the next chapter, and know that you leave an admirable legacy for all of us. So thank you, Craig.
Well, thank you, Chair Redmond, and I know that you speak on all of our behalf, but of course, the Chair's Finance for the last two budgets. Craig, your professionalism over the 12 years, the commitment that you have made to this community, to our region, to our province, frankly, will no doubt not go unrecognized for many more years to come. I know the emails you receive after hours from constituents with regards to budget items and your response, pretty much at any hour of the day, is something that the public doesn't always see, but we do. You have a formidable staff that you've clearly assembled a great team to be able to manage, significant challenges with our budgets over the years. And I know that colleagues here and our community is very, very grateful to you. And I hope that you'll enjoy the time with your boys, your family, a little bit of soccer, and just do the things that you enjoy. So congratulations, and we'll see you next week too for your little things. So that being said, we'll get down to business, and with that, I'll call upon Mathieu, Acting Chief Administration Officer, to speak to the report on strategic priority, the resilient and future-ready organization update. Mathieu.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Committee. So it's still early since Council adopted the strategic plan, but we've already seen a solid start in 2024 from a business plan performance perspective. The report that's brought to you today shows an organization that's orienting itself towards the strategic priorities that you set for this region in the next few years. I'd like to thank you for your continued leadership as we steer the ship and adjust to fit our evolving context. I'd like to also recognize and thank staff across the organization for their hard work delivering essential services to residents and businesses each and every day and investing in our future. Together with our partners, we are making progress towards what matters most to the community across all areas of our strategic plan, growing with care. I'll mention just a couple of highlights that came to mind over the last quarter. To support Homes for All, we approved a new set of policies to incentivize affordable housing. And you approved significant investment towards ending chronic homelessness, at least as it starts. And then we found ways to unlock regional building spaces for equitable and affordable childcare. So these are early steps on affordable housing, for example, early policy approaches, but really they will enable us to define a strong future and our role in supporting affordability in this sector. In relation with climate-aligned growth, already some first steps have been taken towards an emission-free bus fleet, continuing to increase transit services for residents and students, and doing foundational work towards the next wave of legacy projects, such as Go Transit in Cambridge and the future King Victoria Transit Hub. To support equitable services and opportunities, we continue to advance truth and reconciliation, are expanding mental health and addiction supports for youth, working with a new youth decision-making committee, and continue to innovate alongside the community through the upstream funds. To ensure that our organization is resilient and future-ready, we support well-being through a new paramedic peer services support program. We're improving data analytics about our performance against the plan. And we've been rolling out new human resources systems to improve the overall efficiency and experience of employees as they build their career and provide vital services to residents and businesses. From a financial perspective, I hear from Craig and Cheryl that we're on track with no major flags at this time, and I'm really happy that Cheryl is taking the baton from Craig to continue to monitor key budget risks and opportunities, looking at fuel prices, cost escalation due to inflation, funding of discretionary regional development charge exemptions and non-tax revenues, all of which are outlined and detailed in the report. Some additional funding announcements, both provincial and federal, have proved positive for us and will support us in the areas of public health, community support services, long-term care, community paramedicine, and transit. These are, again, early days in our new strategic plan, but we're making excellent headway and serving the community in new ways and along new avenues that you've traced for us. That said, I'm looking forward to our next update, which will bring at the midpoint of 2024, including some projections for the end of year. Thank you.
Okay, that was for information. I don't see, the report is being received for information. Don't see any questions, so we will move to number 9 on the agenda, information and correspondence. There are pieces of correspondence that are being received for information. And then we have a motion that was deferred from last month's Administration and Finance Committee. Is there a mover and a seconder for the motion that was deferred from April 24th? Moved by Councillor Hunick, seconded by Chair Redmond. It is now on the floor. If not, we will bring up the vote on this recommendation. Oh, sorry, Councillor Deutschmann.
Yeah, thank you. I was trying to find my request to speak button. I see it's there now. So just a couple of comments that I want to make with respect to this matter, since it was deferred from last meeting based on comments that I had made. And I'm not going to delve deep into the documents that you have before you. You have my list of questions that I had submitted. You have the response from WRPS. And I've provided all of you a copy of my response to that response, which came late afternoon. So I don't want to belabor the issue. I think we should pass this because obviously we have to move this matter along in order for audit committee or whatever the next step is in the process. But I just want to make a couple of comments. First off, I do feel it's inappropriate that the comments from Chair McLean made with respect to impugning my character and my approach with respect to the questions that I have asked and raised with respect to the budget. I don't think any member of this council should be attacked in any way when they're raising questions. And, you know, we can parse words from many statements and comments that we all make and find things that we want to take out and snip and add in and present in a certain manner. But I think it's very inappropriate that that sort of approach and response was made. These were fair questions to be asked. Clearly, when you note the response in my remarks, that there are things that have occurred which have altered the reporting as they were prior to 2021. And I've outlined those in there. There's also some changes that have occurred with respect to what's included in salary and wages, which has now resulted in additional expenditures, which is new. So these are new changes that happened in the fourth quarter, and they've been identified. So I really do feel it's inappropriate that a member of council has been attacked in the manner that I was in that response from Mr. McLean. I think it's very much conduct unbecoming chair of Police Service Board, who should be rising above the fray and just basically respond to the questions that were asked. That's all we were asking for in this way. And, you know, it's not the first time, hopefully it'll be the last time that someone who is asking questions, fairly asking questions on behalf of the taxpayers of Waterloo Region is not going to be attacked by someone who holds a position of high authority like the chair of the Police Services Board. It's a very significant issue. It's something that I had to process for quite a while. When I read that letter initially, I was personally quite upset when I saw that there, and I didn't feel that those comments were warranted at all. So I will be supporting the motion to move this on. I thank Waterloo Regional Police Services for providing the answers that they did to the many questions that I had submitted, and I appreciate that opportunity. I look forward to future opportunities of having the chief or whoever else from Waterloo Regional Police Services here to better inform us as councillors about what's happening on something that is a significant part of our overall budget. They're not in isolation. Waterloo Regional Police Services budget has an impact on our entire budget, and that's something that we have to consider very seriously. So again, thank you for that information. I look forward to supporting the motion today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Deutschman. Did you say you moved the motion? Oh, it has been moved and seconded. Oh, okay, yes, I did do that. Okay, so Councillor Craig, sorry.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't want to belabor this any more than anybody else, but I think there's a number of things that have to be said with regards to every time we have this discussion, it transposes onto the policing community. People don't look at this as an argument between police services and a member of council, but it's I think the damage that's done politically to the police in our community and the job that they're trying to do. I think the questions all have been answered. Councillor Deutschman had a rebuttal last night, and again, Police Services also has one to his rebuttal. But that's not the point. We don't want this to go on and to go on. But to be offended, I mean, I've sat here and complained about being, attacked about not being transparent, and that members of the board are not transparent. And I think that kind of language also is not needed here in this particular forum. I think in the future, if there's a dispute that goes on and on and on, there is another avenue, and that's the new Police Act, which has an Inspector General of Policing that people can, in fact, go to and complain about anything they don't like. And so I think that's another avenue if this accelerates any more in the future. But I certainly want to see this, have a better understanding between both the board and the council, because my concern is out there in the community with the police officers we have, the thin blue line, which is getting thinner all the time because we can't get applicants to apply. And that's because of a lot of negativity, not particularly in any area, but in Ontario, with regards to how police are looked at and how they're not being supported. And we need to support them, okay?
Thank you, Councillor.
Shut me off?
I was going to remind you that we got a motion on the floor about year-end financial results that I was going to ask you to stick
within
to
the year-end financials are the fact that we have a difficulty with attracting police officers.
Very well. So we do have a motion on the floor. It was moved by Councillor Hunick, seconded by Councillor Redmond, that the Regional Municipality of Waterloo take the following action with respect to the 2023 plan update and year-end financial results as set out in the report dated April 9th, 2024. Approve the preliminary 2023 financial results for the purposes of preparing the region's 2023 audited financial statements, and C, apply the surplus allocation policy to 2023 financial results. I will now ask you to go to eScribe and place your vote. Okay, colleagues, that is carried. Folks, our next meeting's June the 4th, 2024. Before we adjourn, this finance agenda item, I don't know if it was prepared. This agenda was prepared by Mr. Dyer, but he hasn't actually had a chance to speak during this finance committee. So I don't know if you want to get a word or two in, Mr. Dyer, or we'll just go right to adjournment, but I'll leave that to you. I feel it's important you get that chance.
You did put me on the spot. Agreed. So first of all, I guess thank you so much to Chair Redmond and Councillor Harris for your very kind comments. I'm still working on a speech and haven't quite come up with it yet. And so perhaps for today, I'll just say to everybody here that it has been an absolute honor to have served as a CFO for the region for the last 12 years. And I feel very grateful that over the time in my career, I've had the ability to work with groups of people who were so smart and dedicated and who had a lot of confidence in me in times when I perhaps didn't have that confidence in myself. And that made a huge impact on me early on in my career, something that I'll always be very grateful for. So thank you to everybody for all the work that you've done, all the work that you're going to do in the future. And I look forward to seeing and reading about all the successes that happen in Waterloo Region, because I've experienced so many of them in the time that I've been here. And I see evidence of that every day when I'm out and walking around or driving around. So it's been a very, very satisfying, interesting, challenging time here at the region, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. I think that's at least the one Administration and Finance Committee meeting that you made sure you got your comments in, and very much appreciated. So with that, colleagues, we'll now start a vote to adjourn the meeting. I'll send you over to eScribe. My apologies, Sue. Yes, other business, Sue Foxon.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. So we touched basically a little bit about the sign bylaw, the election sign bylaw, and how I felt that it deterred voting because it wasn't in people's faces every day. So I am going to ask that staff look into this. I'm asking that we consider rescinding the bylaw, which would take us back to the previous bylaw, which I'd also like to be sent to all of council that can see it. Chris Fletcher created it. It was a very thorough bylaw, giving a distance standard between signs on regional road, the number of signs you can have on an area, and it was a very, very good and extensive bylaw. And no one likes election signs. None of us do. None of us like putting them up, taking them down, and none of us like seeing them. But they do, I think, serve a purpose. So at the next meeting or in the future, working with the clerks, when they're ready, I would like to bring a motion to rescind the bylaw as it exists today and go back to the previous bylaw once we've seen it and have the discussion on it. Thank you.
So I think we've got consensus. The clerks will send that out and we'll receive that back. We'll get a notice of motion over to everybody. Questions? Councillor Erb, followed by Councillor Craig.
So if this motion comes back to rescind it, like, is there going to be an opportunity for conversation in the community, or is it just going to be a council decision? Because I think there's some people in the community that have some pretty strong feelings on signs, and I think they deserve to have input like they had input when we rescinded the bylaw for the first time.
I would imagine there'd be a staff report that would follow and an opportunity for the public to provide delegations to that staff report. Yep. So for sure. Councillor Craig.
Well, Mr. Chair, you know, I think we have to have a wholesome discussion on this because, you know, if the issue is that signs will bring people out to the polls, I'm not quite sure that is going to come to fruition. I think there are other reasons why people aren't voting at municipal elections. And if it was possible to get some commentary from a political scientist or anybody to talk more about that, it would give us a better background in terms of whether we really want to rescind the bylaw.
Very well. Sorry, Councillor Salonen.
Mine's on a different topic. I was just wondering if staff could maybe bring back information. I know on our last set of financials at our last meeting, we had approved the year ends that pointed out those on certain standing committees who got honorariums. I was just wondering if we could get the policy on what honorariums are for chairs of standing committees.
Confirmation of clerk's receipt and that request. We'll get that to you.
Thank you.
Any other new business, colleagues? We'll head on over. Oh, Councillor Deutschmann.
Chair Harris.
I don't think we removed all your buttons, Councillor Deutschman.
Yeah, sorry about that. Just on the election signs issue, I do support the review that Councillor Foxton has raised. I also want to mention, in line with what Councillor Craig was talking about, I'm currently working with Jörg Broschek from Wilfrid Laurier University, and he is looking into setting up a citizens' assembly to have a discussion about municipal elections and bringing citizens together to have a discussion about what can be done, and I'll keep council updated with respect to that. Thank you.
Okay, describe it is, folks, to adjourn the meeting. Didn't ask for that. Mover and a seconder. Councillor Foxton, Councillor Williams. That's carried, colleagues. We'll take a brief recess, and Chair Erb will be gracing his